I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com, and it's part 2 of the Sony Xperia Z1 full video review. This thing is packed to the gills with a 20.7 megapixel camera, a new version of Android, and a lot of memory under the hood. The question is, can it compete with LG, Samsung, and HTC? Let's go find out in part 2. It's the Sony Xperia Z1 video review part 2, where we're talking about camera, speed tests, all kinds of goodness, and more in this Sony high-end flagship Android smartphone. Before I get too far into the Z1 review, I'm going to give special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile because they do a lot for us. We give you free phones that they provide us at Best Buy Mobile. When you walk in, you'll walk out working. They'll make sure whatever you get, be it an LG device, an HTC device, an Apple device, you'll walk out working. All your email, your web, your contacts, your settings, your ecosystem will all be set up so when you walk out the door, you're good to go. In part 2, we're picking up where we left off in part 1, and we're talking about some of the customizations here that make this device unique. Obviously, Sony's user interface. This is running Android 4.2, but with Sony's user interface versus HTC versus Samsung versus LG, there's obviously distinct differences between these Android devices, and it's worth taking a look at. So you can see obviously here the notifications bar. We talked about this in part 1 with the shortcuts and just the overall look and feel of it, but it is a one-step notification bar, as you see here. No double finger down to access those settings that you see in stock Android 4.2. You've got that, and then of course we can come back through here and take a look at settings, and I can show you what I was talking about in part 1, just some of the personalization stuff, but I want to jump away from that and focus on the camera in part 2 because it's a big selling point of this device. It's packing a 20.7 megapixel camera with a wealth of settings that I really have found myself enjoying in the time that I've been working with this device. And let's bring over, for example, the LG G2 on T-Mobile. And I'll bring it down here, and you can see the overall look and feel of the way the camera moves is a little bit more real time. It's got a nice feel to it, and actually right now it's in superior auto mode, and you can see all these different options: manual mode, time shift burst mode, picture effect, sweep panorama, AR effect, info eye, and social live. So superior auto, I find that to be a pretty decent all-around version. Say if you're not sure where you're going to be, you might be outside at night, you may be doing something quickly, it may be a burst shot. It's kind of nice just to have it in this kind of an auto mode, an all-purpose auto mode. But the camera's been fantastic on this unit. It zooms in perfectly, focuses in, snaps a shot, and it does it incredibly fast as well. And over here you've got a wealth of options: self-timer, smile shutter, preview, burst with long press, and more. And I can come down through here and select my settings, quick launch, launch only, and then I've got flash and of course front-facing camera opportunities here as well. So a lot of different choices. I can come into movies also, take a look, all my settings right there. And if I want to, I can switch over, for example, to panorama or a picture effect. I can select an artistic effect to apply to photos. I've used this one a couple of times where I can come through here and select, partial color or filter, for example, or fisheye, sketch. I happen to find sketch kind of a fun one to do. I can snap pictures just like that. And you can do these real time through the camera application itself, which is kind of cool. We'll go into T-Mobile down here and take a look at the logo, and you can see how those images look right here, as opposed rather to traditional images like this. So overall, picture quality nice and clear on this device. You've got the option to edit. I can set location if I want to, and I can share these obviously with my friends. I'll go back to the camera here, and we'll hop right back in and take a look at some more of these settings. You'll notice also that the on-screen buttons go away when you're working in the camera. Same thing happens on the YouTube side as well. And again, AR effect, I can take it with visual scenes and with characters. So I can take a dinosaur, for example, and I can say, uh-oh, dino attack, AR effect, augmented reality. And then, hey, look, there's a dinosaur on top of the LG. So it's just a fun camera to mess around with. It's very cool. I like these features quite a bit. And I find even the auto or commonly used settings to be fantastic on this phone all around. 20.7 megapixels, really an impressive image. And we'll throw it back into it real quick and take a look at the camera, and then of course the recording options as well. That's really all I have to say. That's all I have to say about that. Forrest Gump quote, anybody? That's what I thought. Camera is really impressive on this device. Otherwise, really pleased with the overall performance of this unit. I find it to be fast with little to no lag, and overall really pleased with the speed of this all around. You can see that Snapdragon 800 CPU running exceptionally fast. And on that note, let's take a look at Quadrant Standard and see how it performs on this device. Overall, I've been pleased, like I said, with the speeds, and battery life has been really decent on this device as well. It's got a nice big 3,000 milliamp hour battery, so it's larger comparatively speaking than the Galaxy S4, smaller than the Note 3, the Note 2, the Optimus G Pro, and a couple of the other phablet devices or tablet phones, whatever you want to call them, on the market right now. But still, for a 5-inch display device, 3,000 milliamp hours appears to be a nice balance, and I get a nice full day's use out of this device with some room to spare into the next day. I get, moderately speaking, at least for my personal use, about 13 to 16 hours with moderate use in this device. So take my battery stuff with a grain of salt. Take these performance tests as well with a grain of salt, because it's not always indicative of day-to-day performance or how you personally use your device, but I will say I've been very pleased. A speeding 20,577 on quadrant standard, exceptionally fast on this device. 20,577. Just think a couple of years ago we were seeing scores of like 3,900 and 2,900 on this. So very fast all around. This phone is zippy. You can see here everything moves very quickly on this unit, and of course just by pinching I can quickly access my widgets, my apps, my wallpapers, and my themes. I also want to take a look at speed test here. I've got 1 bar of LTE on T-Mobile in my office. It's obviously far better outside and in different parts of Dallas. We're going to take a look at speed test. I also want to use this swanky new speed test application that they just updated on Android. So we'll go ahead and begin the test and let the sucker rock and roll. And I don't expect speeds to be crazy in my office, but I have seen pretty decent T-Mobile LTE speeds. We're from 10 to about 16 megabits per second, depending on where I'm at in the Metroplex. I'd say very quick, not fast, or not bad rather at all. Download speed here, rocking at about 5.3 megabits per second, definitely mediocre for LTE. But again, I only have 1 bar of service. 5.36 megabits per second. Upload 0.47. Let's see how it trends here. Hosted by IdeaTek Systems, 0.53. And it looks like it's going to stick right around there. Okay, 0.83, moved up a little bit. Upload is at 0.91 with a ping of 27 milliseconds. So again, 1 bar of LTE, but still nice to have an unlocked device in the office that can support LTE, at least on T-Mobile. Again, if you didn't watch part 1, you cannot do LTE on AT&T, at least in this version of the Sony Xperia Z1. So all in all, really impressed with this device. I love it. The biggest challenge with this device to overcome, actually my biggest caveat with this device, a couple of things. One, the price. Obviously it's an unlocked device, meaning you're gonna have to pay $500 to $700 to get this thing in the States if you want to use it. It's not available on a carrier for a subsidized price or a monthly payment as part of your carrier's upgrade program. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, my big issue I have with this unit is, I'll take a look at it and show it to you as we wrap out the video. SIM card slot here and the little SIM card holder, the micro SIM card holder, is very flimsy, as you can tell here in this unit. That's the biggest issue I have with this device. Otherwise, really impressed with the specs. I mean, this thing is a powerhouse through and through, and it's Sony's best of the best, and it definitely does not disappoint. Biggest issue, SIM card slot right there, and then of course, the availability and paying that much money for it. But also, good news, it's available through GSMNation, so if you do want to buy it, you can pick it up through their website. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for more on the Xperia Z1 and all of these hot Android smartphones as we roll into the holiday season. Thanks so much for watching. Keep it locked right here on the site, and let me know what you want to see covered on Twitter at PhoneDog_Aaron. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.